Uh-huh. Huh. Well, Zach, I think we got some shoveling in our future. Yeah, well, we'll get her. If we can get close to the middle, we should be able to get something.
And then we're gonna have a lot. We're gonna have to keep digging.
I don't think as much as you think.
No.
I brought a shitload of boards and everything. Everything.
There's the old seal.
Yep. Looks good. We'll put it back in. I'm going to go take a look at the tire real quick just to make sure that something's not screwed.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to take a look.
Oh, yeah. So my uncle's coming around this hill, and he said he thought he had a rock. And, you know, it's kind of a side hill and whatnot, and a headland, so he's kind of paying attention. You can see where it must have bounced here. Yeah, there was a bang. And he was just focused on coming around the corner, and he said the dust was the wrong way and couldn't really tell. It seemed like something was up. Turns out something was down. But I was 40 miles to the north of here picking up grain bags. I was on my way back, and Zach calls and goes, "Yeah, Jim lost the tire." I'm like, "What?" Like, went flat? No, definitely didn't go flat. Well, we got her up in the air last night. It got pretty dark. Really hard to film. Did some digging, did some screwing around. Eventually, we were able to start lifting with the loader once we realized that the header was on the ground. So we lifted that, transferred some weight. Had to borrow. I don't see it. Maybe they did it with just the needle nose pliers. I thought we were going to be... A neighbor thought they had a jumbo snap ring tool. Looks like Zach was in here playing, cleaning stuff out a bit. This race has a chip in it. Right there. So I got to knock that out. And I may as well do the back one too. And then we can start assembly. Yeah, Dad said there was I'd like to smooth that just a little more yet. A little ding here and there, so I'll clean that up with a file. I don't think anything runs on that. I think the seal goes on the outside. But we got everything off, and then last night... So we got everything off, and then last night, I didn't even look until we got this up in the air, and Dad was back from Storthoaks, that half the threads are stripped on that. That's the old hub. So I went to Storthoaks, that's the spindle, not the hub. Got all new, everything bearing pressed on, this, that, the other. So I got everything I need in here, some grease, some gloves, this, that, the other. We'll try and get this all back together. Well, it's now 3:45 and it's going to work, and I really don't want to talk about it, so I'll talk about it in a little bit. Oh, it's been a day. Well, she's turning into a day I'd rather forget. So this one, I was coming in, there's an approach just on the other side of the tractor there. Was gonna run and actually grab that sample. And I turned the corner and I felt a bump, and I'm like, I don't remember a rock being there. And I get to the corner and I'm like, why does it feel like I'm driving with a flat tire? So I get out and look, and I got a flat tire. Don't know what happened. It clearly blew out. I mean, she's not a fresh tire, but she's better than that. So where I was parked was right in the way of bagging, so I just limped her over here. So bad things are happening, so I may as well talk about what happened last night. I was on my way back from Windthorst picking up a fresh order of grain bags. Got most of the way home, Zach calls and says, "Yeah, you're not going to believe this, but Jim lost a tire." And I'm like, "What?" Hey, lost the tires in, it blew, it went flat. They went flat and he drove it, now it's off the rim and it's screwed, which wouldn't be fun. No, it's about 100 yards away from the track, or from the combine. Oh, well, that's just no good. So I got back to the farm. We're as far south as we can get from the farm. And Dad said, "Yeah, we're going to need this, yada, 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 and whatever you think." So I grabbed a bunch of stuff, loaded it up in the truck, headed down. And we were just finishing supper. Dad was going to hop in his truck and run to Storthoaks to pick up parts. We checked with Young's, they didn't have everything in stock. We checked with Barassa's, they didn't have anything. Well, they had a couple things and I took what they had. And then Dad ran to Storthoaks because they had everything. Now, knowing now what I didn't know then, we should have just said, get a whole assembly, bearings, everything. Should have done that. That would have saved a lot of time, including the spindle. But they looked at it quickly. And yeah, it looks fine. Looks like it just, the nut broke. And the nut did break. It's over in here somewhere. Anyhow, it didn't break off, it just broke and then it stripped. Now, for some reason, there should have been two, and it looks like there was only one. Anyhow, it stripped the spindle. I didn't know that. The first thing, they said it was fine. I got to jacking up the combine. Me and Zach worked on getting the combine up. It took us a while. Things went a lot smoother once we realized the header was on the ground, and we're like, oh, well, we should lift that up. That'll transfer some weight. Then we made some real progress. So, about that point, we got it up to an acceptable level, is when Dad made it back from Storthoaks. And we went and, me and Zach were literally using the tractor to bring back the tire, and we were taking off the spindle hub. And we took it off, it was black, put it on the tailgate, right where the other truck had its headlights pointing. First thing I say, well, she's pooched. And Dad was beside himself. Yeah, he said he just looked at it quick, he should have known better, whatever. That thing, it happens. It just sucks that where we farm is pretty much an hour from any Case dealership. There's one in, there's a Redhead in Estevan. There's a Rocky Mountain in Mooseman. There's Young's at Windthorst, which is about 50 to 55 minutes, and there's road construction right now. There's Young's in Weyburn, which is just a hair over an hour. And then there's Chickawan's in Storthoaks, which is around that 55 minutes, depending on where we are. From here, it's a hair closer. You can get there in about 45 minutes. So, yeah, that's the kicker. Is like, if it was only a couple extra trips to town, it wouldn't be that bad. But, so, what happened was I got there first thing this morning, asked for new spindle, and they had to press in a bearing, and they put all new studs in. And I got back, and Thomas sent me with some instructions and a special tool to tighten those. There's a real special nut. If I can find it, I'll show you. And I was starting to read the instructions, and all of a sudden it says tighten the first nut. I'm like, first? There's only one. Why would you say first? Go about 4 or 5 instructions down, it says second nut. Oh. So I had to fly all the way to Storthoaks again for this $55 nut. and I got them, came back, put it all together, had a hell of a time with the snap ring. Eventually I found somebody with the tool. I was gone for the tool, and Dad somehow got her popped in. I don't know how. He wasn't even convinced it was in, but it was. So yeah, it's done. It's back in action. It's just been one of those days. Now, to my complete shock, that wasn't seized in there. I've owned this truck for 7 years. That spare tire's never come down. Never thought that. I thought this was just a hopeless venture. Well, we're just not gonna make it. We're not gonna get done the cereals before this storm comes in. Shouldn't even call it a storm, more of a system. Yeah, it's looking like the next week is gonna be wet. And as it stands right now, we're about 80% done the durum. We've got about, I don't know, just out around this yard, we've got probably right now maybe 40 acres to go. Just a couple hours. And then I've got just shy of 300. It's about 8 miles that way. The problem is it ends up being about a 14-mile drive to get there, because we have to do some zigzagging because the creek's there's a railway, there's a highway, bridge, all this. So the easiest way for us to get there is the long scenic route. As you can tell, we're getting close to dusk right now. I'd call it dusk. We don't do big moves at night, just on a principle. We don't like taking the headers off. Yeah, we're kind of jerks like that. But in doing so, we say to ourselves, we're not moving them in the dark. Now, say we're going a mile or two up a road, we'll do that, and we'll have our own little pilot vehicle with, 4-ways on and that kind of stuff. But we can't make this work. By the time we get moved over there, it would be an hour to get there. And then we would have to come back for another trip of equipment, being the trucks, the disc, the half tons. By trucks I meant semis. So we're just not going to get done. Unfortunately, that is going to hurt the grade of my durum. Fortunately, I'm like 98% certain that everything we've taken off for durum right now is number one. I've never seen durum look this good. We historically have a hard time getting number one. For those that are unfamiliar, there's really there's 6 grades of durum, and then there's subgrades and other stuff. But essentially, it's 1 to 3 is your good stuff. We used to say, like, we'd be thrilled if we were getting 2. And the cost difference from a 1 to a 2 isn't a whole bunch. It gets a little more to a 3. We're typically in that 2 to 3 range. But I've had a lot of 5 in some bad years, and as bad as selling it for feed. So it's 1 to 5 plus feed. And yeah, so I don't think it's at the point, like, this will be its first serious rain on it. We've got a lot, we're having excellent yields. We've got a lot of number one that we'd be able to blend with, and we're only talking we've had let's call that 38. We got 100,000 bushels roughly of number one durum. So if we had to blend some off to get a number 2, that might be okay too. I can't see it going down to a 4 off of this system. In my experience, it gets wet, then it warms up. It gets wet, then it warms up. But temperatures are kind of going to be moderate. It's not going to be cool. So we'll see what happens. Anyhow, we're not moving tonight. Unfortunate. I don't like shutting down. It's just the way it is. And we actually had planned that we would be done out east. We went, and then we'd be down here. We didn't know this system was coming at the time, but had we been able to do it that way, we would have just we would have been probably on the previous field with 200 acres to go, and we would have just kept going until we can't. Looks like the rain's supposed to start at 2 a.m. However, we got over there, tried in the field, and it was just tough. It was 18%, and we don't have a grain dryer, so we weren't going to deal with that. So we'll see what this comes out to. It's hard to be terribly upset. I was hoping to be done, even with, I shouldn't say even with, had we not had the breakdown, yes, essentially we had a combine down for a full day. Partially my fault, partially machine's fault. I think we'd have 1 quarter left instead of the 2 quarters, but we'd still not be done. Plus we still have 300 acres of wheat, and that's a really nice looking crop of wheat.